have this one, we have this one, and this pink one. Okay, so this one we need like confidently name it as the dura. Okay, why? Because it's not showing you any vessels. Okay, so this is a fibrous tissue. This is a strong fibrous tissue. This is the outermost layer. It's the dura mater. Okay, this one is. Are you seeing?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, luckily I'm
good.
short enough.
No, you're
to-
fine. I'm turning my head so I can see.
So this one, it's another layer, and you have a lot of vessels in here. So be confident to name it. It's the arachnoid. Okay, the innermost one, of course, is the pia mirror. So these are two models, like showing you the three meninges. Going back to the cross section of the spinal cord, the other thing we talked about, other than the protective tissue and the spaces in between, we talked about the spinal cord itself, okay? And we said the gray matter and the white matter are arranged, okay? And the gray matter, it's this butterfly-shaped area. That's the gray matter, and we separated the gray matter into different horns, okay? And we name it this one. It's
Posterior gray horn.
yeah, it's the posterior horn. I hope you get the new PowerPoints, because in the PowerPoints I was zooming like this and I mistakenly labeled this one as anterior and this one posterior. But I fixed it. Okay, hopefully you check the updated one. Okay, so this one is the posterior. It's posterior because here we have the posterior part of the vertebrae, the posterior horn, anterior horn, and lateral horn. Okay, these are three horns. Okay, and they have different neurons. Okay, the neurons found in each of these horns are not the function of these neurons. It's not the same. Okay, so what neurons are found here in the posterior horn?
Somatic and visceral.
Okay, the sensory neuron itself is here. Okay, so here we have the sensory nuclei, which are interneurons that will process the sensory information, because the cell body of the sensory neuron itself is here. Remember, we said it's within the posterior ganglia. Okay, so but here we have interneurons that form the sensory nuclei. And remember, the nuclei is a group of neurons found within the central nervous system. Okay, so here you have interneuron that process the sensory information and then send it to the higher level. Okay, what about here? Is it somatic or visceral?
Somatic.
It's somatic. What about the anterior?
Somatic.
Somatic what? What does it's the motor neuron itself. Okay, so it's the neuron, the cell body is here and will project its motor fiber towards the spinal nerve. What about the lateral horn? Is about the visceral neurons, and here we have are organized also, like part of it is for the sensory visceral neurons. I think you need to get closer so you see give her some space. So here you have the visceral neurons, and they are well organized. Okay, are not just they are not randomly scattered. Okay, so we have the sensory visceral neurons and we have the motor visceral neuron anterior to the visceral sensory neurons. Okay, and do we find this one in all levels of the spinal cord? No. What levels are found?
Thoracic and
The thoracic,
lumbar.
the thoracic and the lumbar area. Okay, and can you tell me what level exactly? The thoracic and lumbar. So it starts at
T1, L2.
from T1 to L2. So it's, think about the sympathetic. Okay, so if you wanna show your your understanding, a good understanding of the material, you can tell me it's the sympathetic neuron. Okay, because here we have only the sympathetic neurons. Okay, so visceral is like more more broad name. Okay. So the same for the white matter. The white matter. Okay, let's. Okay. So for the gray matter, also we have this area here. Okay, that connects the left side to the right side. Okay. So what we call this area here? The commissure. And what is the commissure exactly? Is it like cells? What is that?
Nerve cross at that point.
Not the nerve.
Sensory.
The axons. Okay, so here you have axons without any myelin, so it's n-myelinated axons that cross from one side to the other side, so it makes both sides like communicate. Okay,
So it's
The-
anterior gray commissure
Hmm?
where the axons cross over?
no, the gray commissure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the white matter, the same thing. We said it's like organized in columns, okay? And this one we name it as, what is
White
this one?
columns?
The posterior column, and this one anterior and lateral. Okay, so this is the structure of the spinal cord itself. Then we talked about the spinal nerve. Okay, and we said the spinal nerve is made of fibers that come out of the spinal cord, and we have sensory fibers. They are posterior. Okay, and the motor fibers, they are anterior, both of them. Okay, so what is the name of this part here?
Dorsal.
The dorsal what?
Wait, that's
Dorsal root.
The dorsal root, okay? And ventral? Okay.